and if the girl ever fell asleep, it'd show up in her dreams as well and turn them into nightmares. In her words, she said that it kept haunting her while demanding justice.
Yeah! You think? You kidnapped her, you tortured her. The most horrifying Halloween deaths ever. Video by a talking hat. For those who celebrate happy Halloweens, and in order to put the bow on spooky season, figured this would be the best video to do so.
The Hershey's incident.
The Hershey's?
On a Halloween night in 2011, a small home on Winchester Avenue in Chicago quickly became the scene of a nightmare. After trick-or-treating, a grown
Chicago, man?
55-year-old man fell into a fury with his partner after discovering that his bag of Hershey's candy was missing.
He caused a ruckus over some candy bars, bro. See, I thought the Hershey incident would have been a case where someone had a bad experience at Taco Bell. Wasn't the case, apparently.
He was convinced that the 49-year-old woman had taken it, and what started as a petty accusation quickly escalated into a heated argument.
You a grown man, just go buy some more.
And tempers boiled over. In desperation, and perhaps in an effort to also protect herself, the 49-year-old woman hurled a plate at the man's head, striking him in the face and cutting above his eye. The injury, later visible in the mugshot taken of him, only stoked his anger further. With dripping down his face, the man reached for a kitchen knife, and consumed by rage, he lashed out in a frenzy, striking the woman multiple times.
Over some candy
Neighbors later
bars!
recalled hearing chaos and screams echoing from inside the home. Unsure as to whether or not the noises were Halloween decorations, police were eventually dispatched to the area. When officers arrived,
we starting off at that's terrible. Oh, this finna get bad.
They found the woman gravely injured. She was rushed to Cook County Hospital, where she lingered in critical condition for nearly a week.
Ooh.
Despite doctors' efforts, her injuries proved fatal, and she later passed on November 5th.
All over some milk chocolate, bro. And she wasn't even cheating on you with a black man. You could have just went to Walmart, bro, Target, bro, any gas station, dog, that's 24/7 and got some more chocolate.
The man was arrested soon after and booked on felony charges. What had begun as a trivial Halloween quarrel between two adults ended in one of the most brutal of ways.
Jesus
Costume
Christ.
malfunction. On October 31st, at a thriving Halloween carnival, a 51-year-old man would step into the bustling streets dressed in a costume of burlap and straw, eager to join the thousands celebrating beneath pulsing lights and music. But in a sudden, tragic turn, the man's night of festivity shifted into pure trauma.
What happened?
The man joined the crowd in an energetic dance, and in the midst of the excitement, he wanted to take a break and light a cigarette.
Yeah.
In his attempt, the flame from his lighter caught the edge of his costume's hood, and in an instant, his entire outfit.
You telling me this man wanted to smoke through the burlap sack? Didn't just lift the mouthpiece, just wanted to through the mask, bro.
Ignited. Due to its material, the costume was extremely easy to burn, but difficult to put out and take off. The man would try ripping the costume off of his body, but its contents had already begun melting into his skin.
Oh my God.
They at first thought it was a prank or some sort of fire stunt woven into the Halloween event.
Hell no.
It should be noted that most of them were heavily intoxicated, so their rationality and judgment skills were extremely impaired at the time. As the blaze spread violently, it swallowed him whole like a torch.
Oh my God.
Dancers engulfed in fire with his arms flailing in a desperate panic. People continued cheering. Individuals were so impressed by the stunt that they had begun to
You ain't shit for cracking that joke. Man, he's on fire. You ain't shit for cracking that joke, bro. I like those out of you, but you ain't shit for that, bro.
Toward the screaming victim. Only when the man's screams got louder than the music at the carnival did a few sober witnesses realize what was going on.
Oh my God.
They rushed in to help and tried to rip off the burning pants and jacket that were now clinging to his skin.
We instantly went to nightmare fuel.
From their backpacks and emptied it onto the blaze, while others in the crowd continued chanting, snapping pictures, and dancing to what they perceived as a stunt. When the flames finally calmed,
oh my God, that's so crazy.
Despite being rushed to the hospital, the man ultimately passed away from his wounds.
The Hello Kitty incident?
A 23-year-old...
I don't remember if the last one that we watched from A Talking Hat went to Viewer Beware. I think the last one stopped at Nightmare Fuel.
Mother in Hong Kong would continue navigating her life in an environment tainted by hardship.
Okay.
She was an orphan as a child, and as she grew up, she became addicted to abusing substances and other things. She worked at a nightclub in one of Hong Kong's red light districts, Tsim Sha Tsui, where a 34-year-old mob boss frequently visited her for services.
A
The gangster was
Yakuza
known to
member?
be extremely dangerous, as he had a horrible temper and would often do cruel and unusual things to people who wronged him.
Oh, he's a
One day,
Batman
after the two
villain.
met with each other, the mobster
She's
would
in
accidentally
Gotham.
forget his wallet at the venue. Upon seeing that it contained 4,000 Hong Kong dollars, the woman would secretly steal it to help her own financial situation for herself
For
and her family.
$500?
The mob boss found out.
I mean, I probably would have tried to steal it too, because, like, we in a financial crisis right now. Everybody broke. So I kind of don't blame her, but, like, damn.
And out of fear of what he'd do to her, she immediately returned the money back to him. However, he wasn't satisfied.
Just too
he
late.
demanded that she pay an additional $10,000 back to him as an interest fee for her thievery. Obviously, she couldn't meet those requests. On a calm night, as the woman made her way
He
into
wanted
her
an extra,
apartment after
basically
her shift,
2
she'd
bands.
hear knocks at her door. It would be 3 members of the Triad gang and a young girl who claimed that they wanted to settle the dispute with a more reasonable fee. Also, side note, the young girl seen here is actually the mob boss's girlfriend. Remember how I said he's 34? Well, she's 20 years younger than that. Just, yeah. Anyways.
That's disgusting. I know cultures are different, but, like, that's still crazy.
As soon as the woman opened up the door, they ripped her out of her apartment and drove her to a rundown flat on Granville Road in Kowloon.
Wow.
It was there that her final horrific month of torture began. Her captors beat her with pipes, suspended her in the air
pipe?
with wires, burned her with wax and plastic, and
Oh
rubbed
my
peppery spices
God.
into her wounds.
Oh my God.
Each day blurred into the next. It was a cycle of torment designed not only to punish her, but to strip away at her humanity. Neighbors heard nothing beyond the walls, but within them, suffering was routine.
Force her to
After nearly a month
smile?
of agony, her body could no longer endure the mistreatment.
How long, bro?
Routine. After nearly a month of agony,
A month? No, this nigga's from Saul. Why didn't y'all put a beacon in the sky for the Cape Crusader? Why is there people like this in real life, bro?
her body could no longer endure the mistreatment, and she would pass away from the monstrous acts of the gang. Upon realization, the mob boss had his men disposing of her.
Wow. Wow. Bro, this story reminds me of the podcast me and my girl was listening to a couple of days ago. But they made a movie based on the same story called Rooms. It came out in 2015. The real story took place in like the 60s. I heard he had people feeling like they were there, dog. Like, people are so twisted, bro.
Remains in bags and pieces to clear themselves of any evidence. However,
That's
in a
disgusting.
grotesque and cruel twist, the boss would have her skull boiled clean, polished and preserved, and then stitched into his girlfriend's Hello Kitty plush.
What?
Actually, I don't really feel comfortable considering her his girlfriend. I mean, the man's quite literally old enough to be her father.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
nonetheless, night after night, the young girl would be faced with the doll as she lived with the mob boss, and he kept it in the flat they were living in.
That's
She wouldn't be able
so
to escape the sight of
creepy,
the toy,
bro.
and as time went on, it began haunting her. She'd start seeing hallucinations and apparitions of the woman's ghost. The spirit would follow her every day, weeping
Cause you
dreadfully.
got her
He would
skull.
stand by the corner of her bed, staring at her every night, and if the girl ever fell asleep, it'd show up in her dreams as well, and turn them
Wow.
into nightmares. In her words, she said that it kept haunting her while demanding justice.
Yeah. You think you kidnapped her, you tortured her, and then kept her skull as a keepsake. He stuffed it in your stuffed animal. You slept with it every night.
It got so bad that the girl developed insomnia, and for weeks, she'd barely eat or sleep.
Yeah,
Eventually,
you went
she
insane.
broke. She ran to a nearby department, and reports from the Kowloon police station say that she turned up at the building shaking violently.
Wow,
As
bro.
mentioned from witnesses, rather than her saying that she has a crime she needs to confess, the first words that left her mouth were something around the lines of, "I keep seeing her. I can't sleep. Please, she won't stop crying. She won't leave me alone." She was literally traumatized. The girl told police absolutely everything they needed to know.
Okay, so what
And
happened?
officials set out to arrest everyone who was involved.
Okay.
The 3 men. Actually, they don't really deserve to be called that. The 3 criminals were all sentenced to life in prison with a 20-year minimum before
That's the
parole.
mob boss?
The
Okay.
young girl was placed in protective custody, and after the trial,
She need to be in that bed too. She was there. She was there. She took part. I don't care that you got haunted by the ghost of the person that you helped. You need to be under the prison as well, ma'am.
It was noted that she was seeing the ghost less. However, she'd still go on to experience nightmares and auditory hallucinations of the woman weeping.
Auditory hallucinations are a sensory perception of sound of voices in the absence of an external stimulus, while often associated with mental health conditions like schizophrenia.
The last thing that was heard of her before she was relocated with an identity change was that she was being given psychological treatment and correctional therapy. These aren't just horror stories, they're real events.
That's
And
crazy.
they're all so wrong, in so many ways. Halloween is meant to be scary in a fun manner, not in a cruel and dangerous one. To
Facts.
ensure that happens, make sure to group up, stay close to your friends, drink responsibly,
Facts.
and always check your candy twice. Take care of yourself and keep your loved ones safe. Without further ado, have a happy Halloween.
And that's gonna be it for the video, bro. I wasn't expecting that to do so much mental damage to myself alone. I can only imagine what it did to y'all, and I apologize for that. But it is Halloween, and it wouldn't be spooky season if something on this manner didn't happen. I apologize. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit that hype button. It helps me out in the algorithm. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.